Hey guys, it is Friday here in West Virginia, so it is time for us to do our Free It Friday. And I brought back out a Team Transport set we unboxed a couple weeks back to help us with tonight's unboxing. And it is the Hot Wheels Team Transport set of Dan Gurney, which a lot of people in the comments of the last video enlightened me on. It should have been Swede Savage. But I did more research of my own and found out that Greenlight made a Swede Savage and Dan Gurney Cuda, and they were more accurate than these Hot Wheels ones, except for a couple small decals. And the Hot Wheels one, I think, has a better stance, and the wheels being white are a little more accurate. But I was looking at some pictures of the real car when it's sitting still and not got all the downforce pushing down on it. The car is still set kind of at a stock looking height, so the Greenlight stance started seeming a little bit more accurate to me than the Hot Wheels did. But anyways, let's bring one of these Greenlight ones out. We'll first do number 42. Because we have number 42 here. And anyways, this is your number 42 1970 Trans Am Plymouth Barracuda of Swede Savage. And sorry if I'm not pronouncing his name correctly, because this type of racing and these guys were before my time and kind of out of my realm. I was more into drag racing and a little bit of NASCAR, not really in the Trans Am stuff. But if I would have been alive during those days of like 68 to 72 when they had all the really cool cars, and I would have probably watched a lot of it. So this is a diecast in collaboration with ACME, which is well known for their 1/18 scale diecast of race cars and such. So they did do a fine job on these. The decal that I was saying was missing, and this could have been that it was only on certain cars for certain races or something, or it could be because Greenlight made these and ACME together. They didn't want their competitor's name on the quarter panel, but the real car ran the Hot Wheels logo on the quarter panel in a lot of the pics I had seen. So yeah, I'm not sure if that was a permanent fixture on the car or if it was just on there for a couple of races as like a co-sponsor. But that's the only thing I noticed that was not accurate with this model. Now the Dan Gurney number 48 is slightly different with the striping and everything, and we'll take a look at that in a moment. The Hot Wheels, however, the vintage racing one, has the same hood stripes and pretty much everything that this one does, except the number's different. And honestly, I looked for the number 48 Dan Gurney vintage racing loose for a reasonable price. That wasn't too damaged. Either they were too damaged with the tampos on the driver's side, or the price is just too high, or they were still carded. And I don't want a carded one and take that chance of all the tampos peeling off the driver's side. So I'm going to wait patiently and find one loose for a decent price without too much damage. A couple little spots in the number. That's an easy touch up with a white marker, white model paint. But in the meantime, I've got the Swede Savage and Dan Gurney Trans Am set from Greenlight ACME. So on the back of the card, unfortunately, it does not tell us much at all about the race team, nothing about the heritage of these cars. So that's the bad thing about Greenlight. They have a tendency not to really give you a lot of fun facts like round 2 does with Johnny Lightning and Auto World. They always seem to put a lot of cool little facts on the front or the back and such, but Greenlight lacks on this, and M2 lacks on it too quite a bit. So it's a shame. Would have been nice to have heard some stuff about these guys. But anyways, let's get this guy out of the package and take a look at him. And I've already cut it along the back side so I can flip this back open like a door, like I always do, because these I'm actually going to display carded, because I display this carded on the wall, and I'm going to put these right next to it. That's why I opened these from the back, and that way I could reopen or put them back in the package. Sorry, my kid was distracting me, so I ran out of words to say, lost focus and stuff. So anyways, here's the car, and it's a dark metallic blue. And if you are not familiar with the Greenlight Cuda casting, these are plastic roofs, kind of like Hot Wheels' original Cuda casting. They shared the casting with the convertible and the hardtop, but Hot Wheels was awful with their plastic top. Greenlight's is not like perfect, but it's probably as good as you're gonna get. And they did as good as they could, I guess, with the B pillars, but still, it's a little bit off when you look at the B pillars, but still not too bad. They have these Watanabe mini light style wheels on it, which are like a 10-spoke style wheel. White letter Goodyear tires. They're treaded. They should have been slicks. And these are numbered. This is number 2508. Not sure on how many they made. They don't state on the package either of how many were made. It just says limited edition and recommended for ages 8 and older, 164. So no indication on how many were made. Probably 10,000, maybe a little less, 9,999, something like that. But I'm not sure. They had the correct AAR hood on the car. The tail panel is done in that yellow, orange, and red striping, which is pretty cool. You have your DuckTales style racing wing on it. It's not like the factory wing. I guess maybe it could be like a factory AAR. I'm not sure like what the AAR spoiler actually looked like, but anyways, it has a big chin spoiler. That was one thing that is accurate in the pictures of the real one-to-one car, but Hot Wheels did not do it to theirs. Now Hot Wheels nailed it on Sam Posey's Challenger, where other companies overlooked it, including Greenlight, which I'm kind of surprised. They did Sam Posey's car in a couple different lineups, and it still had like the factory looking spoiler on it. Now this one, however, does not have a cage in it like they did with Posey's Challenger. So a couple little details they overlooked, but they do have the chassis right with the correct exhaust side outlets. Pretty cool. And all the stuff. I was trying to get the hood open, but I'm not going to fool with it right now. Sorry about that, but I'm not even sure if they do open. They should, because this casting is equipped with opening hood. So it has the AAR Cuda on the quarter. Pretty nice. Now, this is one thing I've noticed about Dan Gurney's car, is that the hood stripe's different than what it was on the Hot Wheels one. As you can see, number 48 on the hood, like the number 42 on the hood of this, and just like the Hot Wheels, number 42. And they did something different. The hood on this one has no stripes. It just has it right on the front header panel, and they did do it on the tail panel. So let's go ahead and get him out and look at him. Same thing, except that it says Dan Gurney 48. The backside, once again, does not say much. Just gives you ACME stuff and Greenlight, where to find them online. Some licensing stuff with ACME and Goodyear and such. So let's get him out. And I did the same thing, kind of cut it around the back so I could flip him open and get him out easily to look at it and display it for certain picks. And like I said, these ones are two cars that I'm going to put in the package again and display them on the wall. And this one, unfortunately, the spoiler popped off the front of this one, so they do come off easily. It doesn't look like it broke anything, it just looks like it came unglued. So anyways, as you can see, the hood of this one has no stripes on it, and I thought maybe it was an error, but I looked online and it's not an error. That's the way the car was in real life. The one that Dan Gurney ran, the number 48. And as you can see, same co-sponsors and all of that stuff, same wheels and everything. No Hot Wheels logo on the quarter panel though. So basically they're pretty close though. And as I said, the stance of the car is a little more accurate on these than the Hot Wheels. And I thought Hot Wheels would have been a little more accurate. Or maybe it was just the way that the chassis was tuned for certain tracks. Maybe that's what I was seeing. But one thing I did notice, it looks like the driver's side sets a little lower than the passenger side. In some cases, I know Greenlight's notorious for not getting their chassis set right on the body, so that could be part of it. But then I noticed even the Sweet Savage is the same way, so I'm not sure if it's a mess up from Greenlight or if it was intentionally made that way to give it like that tuned chassis look. I'm not sure, but it's not that much to even notice. Like when you're setting them on the table, they don't look like they're setting at an angle or anything. But that's it, guys. We're bringing these two out for you to see for our Free It Friday. Brought the hauler back out and just to show you the Hot Wheels one. Also, the Hot Wheels one is pretty small compared to the Greenlight. Although overall, I still think I like the Hot Wheels a little more. I don't know. It's just me. Maybe it's because the roof or I don't know. Something like that. There's something about it that makes me like the Hot Wheels casting a little bit more than the Greenlight one. Although probably the Greenlight is more true to scale and all of that stuff. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. And we will be back, if not this weekend, definitely on Monday for a Mopar Monday. So enjoy your weekend, guys.